At 2 years old, you should be saying something.
He did tend to have staring spells.
He wouldn't respond to his name like ever. Oh, just take the pacifier from him, he'll start talking.
Or friends and family will receive it.
Well, he just needs to be with more kids his age.
Black people don't need psychiatry. We got Jesus.
My name is Patricia Samuels.
My name is Corey Brown. Our son is Noah Brown. He is 2 years old and he was recently diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. I started to know something was up, not that it was autism, because he wouldn't respond to his name like ever. And especially being at that age, you would just think that they would at least give you eye contact when you would say their name, and he wouldn't. And I would say it and I would think he was just being rude, as I got to realize there was something going on.
What I noticed first was he wasn't saying nothing. The biggest sign. At 2 years old, you should be saying something. He wasn't calling mommy and daddy. And also, when we went to Florida for the family reunion, he was always agitated and crying and whining. He didn't want to do anything or play with other kids, which is like not normal. And then he started with the fingers. And that's how I knew something was wrong. Noah, say cheese.
People think they know everything, you know what I mean? Especially having West Indian parents, they definitely just said, oh, just take the pacifier from him, he'll start talking. There's nothing wrong with him. We definitely knew something was up because he has a cousin who's actually a few months younger than him, and she's like by far more like communicative and verbal and knowing what's going on, so we knew something was up.
Everybody would say nothing's wrong with him. Oh, he's fine. Well, he just needs to be with more kids his age. He was going to a daycare with kids his age. There's clearly something else wrong. And especially when you tell him, oh, well, he's going to therapy and stuff like that. Oh, why are you doing therapy? He don't need therapy. Yeah, he does. He's 2 years old. He should be saying something.
We knew something was up, but we were just hoping that it was more so just like some delayed development type deal. When you actually hear like a neurologist tell you there's something wrong with your baby, you know what I mean? It's tough. It hurt. We cried. We had to have our little moment. We have great family support, so they kind of helped us through it. We just kind of got on the next step. Now we know what's up. Let's just get him all the help he needs because we want him to live a fulfilling life.
We had to do blood work. We had to do chromosome test. Just like DNA, you swab everybody to see if he's missing any chromosomes. I'm not sure the exact name, but they put like this cap on his head that reads his brain waves, because kids with autism, they get seizures. Sometimes you can't tell they're having a seizure. They'll just stand there and black out and they're having a seizure. So they did that. It was like a sleep deprived test where they put this cap on his head, read his brain waves.
Yeah, he couldn't sleep.
He only could sleep for like 4 hours. They did that. He doesn't have any, but that was like a big thing we had to do.
What needs to happen is there's a lack of eye contact, right? So even though he wants something, what is he doing? He's reaching for the item, but he doesn't understand that at the end of that arm is someone, right? So if to facilitate him picking his eye up and looking at you, he's gonna expect that when I reach for it, I'm gonna get it. But if you don't give it to him, he's gonna figure, how come it's not coming to me? I just said, ready, set, go. How come it's not coming to me? Because typically when we say ready, set, go, what happens? Something comes to him, right? So when he wasn't coming, what did he do? After a while, he picked his head up and he looked, and that's what we want. We want him to be looking like, what's going on? And then we could give it to him. He said, tractor, here it comes. Ready, set,
Go.
go, good like it.
We were getting like early intervention before the diagnosis, so now it was time to get extra help. So instead of, it was like 2 days a week,
Went to like 4 or 5.
it went to like 4 or 5 days a week and 2 times a day. And then you had to do ABA, which we're working on getting extra help now. Speech, which is extra. Also
The occupational therapist.
Occupational therapy.
And DI.
If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray.
hooray!
If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray.
He'll tell us when he wants something to be open. He tell us if he wants what it is, whether is it bread or juice.
What's that?
Bread.
Can you need help? Say open.
Open.
Thank you.
Go.
He knows his colors. He knows animals. Now what is this one?
Doggy.
Doggy. What is it? What is that?
Apple.
Apple. Good job. He knows who mommy and daddy is. And Pop and grandma.
Mommy.
Mommy.
Goose.
Who's that?
Booty.
No, that's not Judy. That's Gma.
Mima.
Who's that one?
Papa.
Good job.
He's been doing so much better. I mean, when someone who doesn't know him probably sees him, will probably still think he's not where he should be. But just knowing where he came from, where we would call him 10 times and he just would be like spaced out. And now maybe half of the time he'll turn around and look. You know what I mean? To me, like that's...
It's a quick look.
Yeah, it may be a quick
he's
half or
answering.
2 second look. You know what I
His
mean?
attention span
his
got a lot
attention
longer.
span definitely got a little bit better. He's saying more things.
Ouch. Mommy called the doctor and the doctor said,
I think it is crucial for a child to be evaluated, especially if parents are noticing like some of the telltale signs of ASD, and just not allowing other people's opinions or what they think. Sometimes people don't want to seek help because of stigmas and things like that, but we realized that our kid needed help and we got it, and that's something that I'm very proud of, that we didn't allow what other people thought to affect the way we went about getting our kid help.
Saving for the trip of a lifetime, and you know, you're deciding you're going to go to Paris and you're going to see the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, and you're going to eat croissants and go to famous jazz clubs in Paris, and you've been saving for it, and you're going to maybe even, you know, cruise the Riviera once you get to Europe, and you save up all this money, and the day comes and you get on the plane or you get on the ship to go to Paris, and you're in Holland. And Holland's beautiful, you know. They got the Dutch, they got the chocolate and pretty tulips, but that's not what you save for. Oh, and by the way, there's no plane back to where you came from, and there's no plane that'll get you to Paris.
So you got stuck in Holland.
So you're in Holland, you didn't learn the language, you never planned on seeing the tulips, you can't go back home, and you can't go to Paris. That's really what getting the diagnosis is like, all at once.
My name is Basil Samuels, father of David Samuels.
Hi, I'm Nikki Samuels, and our son's name is David Samuels. He's 9 years old, and he's on the autism spectrum. David was verbal, could count to 100, knew his letters and colors before he was 2 years old. Just knew something was off. He really didn't interact with other children. He played by himself. Large vocabulary, but really didn't talk unless we talked to him. And if we didn't say anything to him for a whole day, he wouldn't say anything to us for a whole day. I don't think we were really aware of the differences. They were so slight. What we understood autism to be, he wasn't really exhibiting. You know, he did talk. He didn't really have loss of skills or revert. So, and and he was really smart. So
I guess that's probably what it was. We were like, you didn't know, heard about autism, but didn't know what it was. So we could like pinpoint that something was off or wrong in terms of autism before the diagnosis. I guess autism based upon the spectrum of the level you get diagnosed, it's hard to like diagnose David based upon his smartness and stuff like that.
But, good. This is P-Head. Head.
and when was he founded?
He was found and born in 1971. But his real name is PBS. Yeah, we know, the public broadcasting service. But his worst enemy is Viacom. It's always Viacom.
Having to tell your family, tell your friends. You get, oh, ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Are you sure? Are you sure? I don't think there's anything wrong with him. It's beyond annoying, number one, and quite disrespectful. And I think people mean it to be comforting, and it's just not. Nobody is raising their hand to say, you know, my child has a disability, isn't that great? That's not what we're doing. Just the subculture of just being of African descent. Many people of color. First of all, we don't trust the medical community. We just don't. Eugenics, Tuskegee Airmen, and those are just a few. If you put ignorance aside and you talk to the very well educated and understand that medicine is necessary and helpful, we still tend to be less trusting of it. And that's not just ignorance, it's valid.
This is ABC, American Broadcasting Company. Na, 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 na. This is one of his companies, ABC. You see, Disney is the boss of ABC.
Religion plays a big part in our ignorance too. I think as African Americans or people of African descent, especially in this country, you know, black people of all economic levels can relate to, you know, black people don't need psychiatry. We got Jesus. You don't need medicine. We got Jesus. You know. You know. Oh, that boy stutter. We're not gonna get him speech therapy. We're gonna pray that the devil loose his lips. You know. And we laugh and joke about it as young people, but just, you know, 2 generations ago, like, that is really what we did and what we relied on. Even though we joke about it and laugh about it, we've heard our grandparents or our great aunts or uncles say things like this. So it becomes pervasive, even though, you know, now, you know, we are obtaining education. You know, more of us are graduating from high school, have college educations. You still carry that culture with you.
Did you know there's a number inside the logo? Besides, can you see it? It's the number 31. What does it mean? It means Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors.
I mean, you feel with fear. Can I handle this? Can I do this? What does he need? Am I going to be able to provide it? What am I going to tell people? What are people going to think? How are they going to react? How am I going to react? Am I even cut out for this?
If we are not knowing the full understanding about it, and they're not going to receive it because we're not explaining it or telling it right, we ourselves not going to be able to handle their reaction. So it was a challenge to first accept it, then to deal with it.
And then once you move past the fear and the devastation, then you have to act.
Monroe acts great, Toby said.
I did have to fight to get a one-on-one aide so that he could go into an inclusion class. We won that battle. I did get a one-to-one aide, which allowed him to be in a classroom with 2 teachers in a smaller setting with other kids with disabilities who are, you know, really function better in an inclusion class than they would in a special ed classroom. In the inclusion class, like I said, he still gets sensory breaks, he gets the one-to-one aid, he gets occupational therapy at school and speech therapy in school, as well as what we get him through our medical providers. But actually started ABA therapy over the summer just because he was starting to exhibit more and more aggression. We were using Brett Denovian Associates for that, and they come into the home and work with him. He also receives social skills through them, so he's learning, you know, basically how to be and interact in social settings. And as a part of that, they go on outings to like the movies or bowling, different places with other kids, and they learn how to, you know, have a conversation, introduce themselves, be friends, how to just interact and not be so, you know, isolated, just jumping in their square by themselves, not looking at anyone.
And this is a creeper, and I think that's the Wither. And this is a ghast, and this is an ender dragon. This is a blaze.
And he's shown like remarkable improvement. Even at home, he's become, you know, more conversational, where we're not always having to initiate the conversation.
Nanny, it is you!
Yes, it's me, David. How are you?
You might say a few words, but without you having to say like, "Hi, David."
It's so nice of you to come to stop by, Nanny. I'm Josh and I'm 4 years old.
Do you like hanging out with your brother David?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you like to do?
We go on the computer.
I think while Josh doesn't fully yet understand what autism is or any of David's other illnesses, he's keenly aware that his brother is different and that something is a little off, and he wants to help him and protect him.
He will step up to you to defend his brother.
Yeah, even though he's the baby brother.
Yeah, he will step up. Hey, that's my brother. Leave him alone. So you learn, the more information you have, it's better for yourself and for the child. As the days goes by, he's getting older. The more you know, it makes it a whole lot much easier.
Check in your community for the different opportunities that they have for kids with autism. So it's good to do your research and know what you have access to. And also your kid doesn't feel left out from different things just because they have a disability.
You can't bury your head in the sand. You have to be as informed as possible about everything that affects them. You are the person fighting for them, representing them every minute, every second of the day. And the only way you can be a successful advocate is to be armed with information. And so it becomes your job to teach yourself everything that you know. You have to be proactive if you're going to help your child navigate this world, period.
You have to take your ego out of the situation, because it's not about you, it's about the child. And you should not be worried about what people will think, but at some point in time you have to understand that they need help and that you need to seek that help, because you denying the situation doesn't make the situation go away. So you need to get help.
It's by no means a death sentence. You learn to live with your new normal. Don't feel like they have to apologize for their child's behavior. You don't have to feel bad. There's 50 million people in the shop right looking at you and your child have the meltdown and trying to make you feel bad. And you don't have to do that. You can make it a teachable moment. Hi, since you want to stare, he has autism. Let me tell you a little bit about it. You know, be brave and don't let other people make you feel bad or ashamed or uncomfortable.